Hi Ross, how did you
Hi.
get on with trying to set up some PDP items last week?
Yeah, I think so. I read that example PDP, selected some key capabilities and put them in the portfolio. Um, Probably need a bit of a steer at this point, I think.
All right, do you want to just share your screen? We'll have a look at it.
Um, okay, let me just navigate to my portfolio. Okay, I didn't go for HLL1. I started at HLO2 actually. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, so HO2 there you've picked 2.1 communication. So you put planned activity, complete assessments, and the evidence of some ACEs. So I think in this job you're going to get plenty of opportunity to kind of show your communication skills. But I think what we really need to do to kind of try and think about what things about this job specifically you're going to do to try and show that. So whilst kind of what we are going to end up doing is completing assessments, or is it just be looking at what exactly around that, in this job we're going to do? Can you just, if you just click on edit a
Yeah.
second, we'll just maybe just adjust or refine those things a little bit.
Yeah.
So in terms of ways to complete assessments, what were you thinking about in when you said that?
I guess I need to be observed. Complete assessments, I guess, by yourself. Get feedback on those, and improve over time. Was my thinking.
Okay, so I mean, if you think about the things that we're doing in this job, think about sort of weekly timetable. Is there a bit where you think that that's going to
Oh.
be easiest to get done?
Yeah, you show me those outpatient clinics, so that they seem to be, especially I guess the new patients. So I'm thinking the new patients and outpatients make sense.
Yeah, so I think probably the new patient clinics that we do kind of Tuesday mornings, um, where we have the patients coming in, and you'll be doing the new assessments. That's a good time to get those kind of full assessments done.
Okay. I put a
So that's
question
good.
mark here because I just thought, is this just ACEs or should I be thinking about other workplace-based assessments?
I think for the communication ones, they're easier to do with an observation rather than a discussion one. So probably the
Okay.
ACEs, mini ACEs are probably more appropriate for the communication ones. Maybe there's some of the other things like the CBD. So ACEs, mini ACEs are probably what we would do. I think it's always useful to accompany those things with some case logs,
Yeah.
and afterwards go back and sort of look at some reflective stuff. So if you kind of reflect on some of the things and sort of if anything's gone particularly well or badly. So case logs and reflections are kind of quite good evidence of this as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So that's fine. So yes, save that.
Uh,
Okay. So we go back down to sort of another one. So there you've got one around sort of pharmacology.
mm,
So obviously said in the clinic under supervision, assess for suitability and work towards prescribing opioid substitution. I think that's a really good one. And I think that probably in the opioid clinic, that's probably where sort of pharmacology stuff is going to be mostly looked at in this job. So there you've put evidence as a mini ACE.
mm,
Um, I think probably that's fine. I think that will be okay. But I think for these ones, actually, sometimes we use the case-based discussions to give us a little bit more kind of detail, so we can get
right.
really into your kind of thought processes and why you might do one thing or another thing. So I think the adding in the discussion on top of the observed ones gives us a bit more kind of detail and shows that you've achieved that a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's probably fine for that one for the minute.
Um, yeah. This one I really was
Complexity and
unsure
uncertainty.
of. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when you get into these ones, I think the pharmacology one, that seems quite straightforward. The complexity and certainty ones are a little bit more difficult, maybe stuff like that. So what we put here: seek range of patients in addictions clinic under direct supervision or take cases supervision for discussion. I think that you're probably right in terms of that's a good place to look. I think maybe actually for the complexity and uncertainty, some of the stuff that happens out of hours as well, some of the things that come in kind of unscheduled and unplanned sometimes can sort of add a little bit more complexity and maybe some of those things too. So if you just put in some out of hours assessments, if you can, that probably would help for that one. Because sometimes that unscheduled contact is it can be really difficult, really, really challenging. I think in terms of the evidence, CBDs again, I think CBDs are always really good for trying to show the depth of your depth of thinking or depth of knowledge. But I think also if you put in, for things like on calls, if you can get someone to watch you do an assessment, that's always really helpful as well. So maybe just put in an ACE or a mini ACE to that as well.
Understood. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Grand. So I think that's a really good start actually. So there's obviously 3 kind of clinical skills and a few at this sort of stage in training. Those kind of basic clinical skills are probably really, really good to kind of get working on and get some evidence on those. So what you need to do now is go off and try and pick up some evidence, and then we can review that and see how you're getting along maybe in a couple of months' time with those.
Understood. That's really helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay, right. See you soon, Ross.
See ya.